You're watching Less Than Epic's coverage of the Overwatch League. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, my name is Kinky and welcome to Less Than Epic's Power Rankings for the final week of the regular season of the Overwatch League. Our rankings this week are absolutely nutty. We have the largest jump from Team 2 to Team 3 that we've ever had, and the closest top 3 teams we've ever seen, and all 3 of those teams being within 2 points of each other. Kicking it off at number 12 this week, again, are the Shanghai Dragons. The Dragons had their closest matchup yet as they went to 5 games against Mayhem. They went into Game 4 up 2-1, but ultimately they did what Shanghai does best and fold under the pressure and lose back-to-back games to continue their losing streak. Unless the Shock or Gladiators have monumental collapses, they're destined to be 0-30. Again at number 11 are the Florida Mayhem. Florida almost gave the Dragons their first career win, but were somehow able to pull out a win in a 5-game affair. The reason they climbed out of the hole is the entire reason they're number 11 and not number 12. Florida has a lot to build off of in the offseason. Hopefully, they can sign some more players and come back next season and be as competitive as the Valiant. Dropping down to number 10 are the Seoul Dynasty. Surprised? Well, so were we. No one saw what was going to happen with Dynasty as they went up against Boston, especially considering how poorly Boston has been playing. Seoul then went on to have a game where they could prove that they were still a contender against Philly, but ultimately they fell short. Seoul could potentially reach the playoffs at the number 5 or number 6 seed, but they're gonna need a lot of help. In at number 9 are the Houston Outlaws. Houston beat Dallas this week, which was a good sign considering Dallas's current play, but then they went on to get crushed by the Valiant. That's why the Outlaws stayed at number 9. They still have an outside chance to make the playoffs, but like Seoul, they're going to need a lot of help if they want to be able to make it to the playoffs. Sliding back up the scales to number 8 are the Boston Uprising. Boston can't make the stage playoffs, but they saved their season playoffs by winning both of their games this week. Boston may have built a small amount of momentum to swing into the playoffs, but that all could be lost as they take on New York this week. Hopefully, they can at least stay competitive to be able to carry some of that momentum into the playoffs. Our number 7 team are the Dallas Fuel. Dallas falls 2 places this week because of their stumbling against Houston. We're not sure if it was Dallas who were slipping or if it was just the Outlaws who stepped up their game. Either way, that uncertainty was enough for us to push them down our list just a bit. Dallas can still make the stage playoffs. They're holding on to the number 4 seed. All they have to do is win and they're in. Our number 6 seed this week are the London Spitfire. London, technically speaking, could lose out of the playoffs. However, they essentially have clinched a playoff berth. They need a single map win. London moves up the list despite losing both games this week. They may have lost, but they went up against 2 of the top 3 teams in the league, and both games were very close. They weren't wins, but they were proof that this team has improved since the previous week. Rolling in at number 5 are the San Francisco Shock. The Shock had a very similar stage to London. They took on 2 of the top 3 teams and they were competitive throughout both matches. Despite going 0-2, they stay right here at number 5 just because of how competitive those games were. I think that the Shock would be great in the season playoffs, but unfortunately, they won't be able to make it. Hopefully, they can at least make the stage playoffs. Keeping their number 4 spot again are the Philadelphia Fusion. The Fusion had a bounce back week as they were able to set themselves back on track with wins over Seoul and San Francisco. If Philly can go 2-0 this week against Houston and London, they will really set themselves up nicely to head into the season playoffs with a full head of steam. Holding on to the number 3 slot are the LA Gladiators. The Gladiators are having their best stage yet. They just took down the big bad New York Excelsior, and they're showing the entire league that they're not only deserving of the stage playoffs, but they also belong in the season playoffs. The Gladiators are already in the stage playoffs, and they're just 1 win away from being able to secure a spot in the season playoffs. They play the Dragons next, so yeah, they made it. Who's that at number 2? The New York Excelsior. New York did something this week that they had never done before. They lost their second game in a single stage. There is still no reason to panic if you're a New York fan. They are still in the stage playoffs and they had already secured the #1 seed for the seasonal playoffs. It was just weird to see the team drop 2 games in back-to-back weeks against both playoff caliber teams. Coming in at #1 for the final week of the regular season are the LA Valiant. With New York falling to the Gladiators, it helped push the Valiant past them. The Valiant are still a perfect 8-0 this stage and look to be on track to be the second team to go 10-0 in a single stage. Hopefully for the Valiant's sake, they won't have the collapse that the Uprising had. I don't know of any changes that are imminent for the Valiant, so I doubt that will happen. What a season it has truly been. Although, it's not quite over. Not only do we still have the stage playoffs to look forward to, we also have the season playoffs to crown our first ever Overwatch League champion. We've seen some amazing matchups so far this season, and hopefully the best of them is yet to come. Keep an eye out next week as Less Than Epic gets into their playoff coverage. As always everyone, take care and we'll see you in the next one.
If you like our coverage of the Overwatch League, let us know by liking and subscribing. And if you didn't, let us know why in the comments below. Maybe we can make it better. Thanks for watching, everyone.